Stop me if you've heard this before. PlayStation has the best single player experiences in the business, and no one is even close to competing with them. I know I've heard that plenty of times, and I have to say, to some extent, the statement does hold a lot of truth to it. Don't get me wrong, at the beginning of this generation, I have to say personally, PlayStation didn't have great exclusive games that drew me to the system. Yet over the last couple of years, they have shown quality gaming experiences that everyone should take the time and play. But does that success of having some of the best games this entire generation make them immune to making something that doesn't meet the amazing standards they have set? And that's where Days Gone comes into play. Days Gone is a game that seems to have a very troublesome development cycle. After being delayed multiple times and at certain points in its marketing it even had bad demo showings, with all of these signs, I have to raise the question if this will be PlayStation's worst exclusive to come out in so many years. And I want to go into detail of why I feel this game could run into a lot of trouble when it releases. But before I get into all that, please hit that like button and subscribe button. All the support is greatly appreciated. But now let's get into the main reasons I believe this game could be one of PlayStation's worst exclusive titles to come out in several years. The first reason is the studio might have reached higher than it should have. The studio that's behind Days Gone is Bend Studio, who a lot of people might not really know who they are, and I wouldn't blame you if you didn't know them, because they haven't made anything that's been huge for a very long time. And by big, I mean they haven't made a game for the standard PlayStation consoles in about 8 or 10 years. Their previous works have been Resistance Retribution, Uncharted Gold Abyss, and Uncharted Fight for Fortune. What do all these games have in common? They were all built for the PlayStation Portable or the PlayStation Vita, which are PlayStation handheld games. And before that, they made Siphon Filter for the first ever PlayStation. So for the last 3 generations of consoles, they haven't made a game for the main hardware that Sony has released. Which I feel is a little worrisome because this game is going to have to carry most of 2019 for PlayStation. And it would seem that the studio behind it is trying something completely new that they aren't used to. Do I hope they meet all their goals and achievements? Of course I do, because I want the game to succeed for them. But I do have questions if they can pull it off as a studio in general. Now this other reason is a little weird, but it's something I haven't been able to let go of. And that's Days Gone's absence from PlayStation's E3 show last year, 2018. As everyone remembers, PlayStation's E3 last year was heavy on the filler entertainment with flutes and arena changes, which makes me wonder why Sony didn't show this game on their biggest stage of gaming. Instead, they released a 1-hour demo a little bit before E3, which a lot of people thought didn't really show the game off well. In a controlled demo that should showcase the game in a positive light, instead the demo was riddled with bugs and animation glitches. So when the game wasn't showcased on an already slow E3, I felt that Sony might not have the confidence in the game that they did their other franchises. I know it's weird to look at the lack of E3 presence as a weird thing, but it's something that's always bugged me. And I truly feel that for a game to have its last E3 before its release, it should be one of the vocal points of the company's conference. Instead, it wasn't even on their show. So that worries me to no end. And that moves on to my next reason why I believe this game might struggle for a lot of people. And that's the combat in the game. I've heard from multiple people that have played the game say that the combat in the game is truly one of its worst attributes. It's clunky, weird, and at times just terrible. And this isn't from a few people that played the game. I've heard this from PlayStation-centric channels, reviewers, and early impressions from people that were flown out by the studio to test the game. And while the game is promoted as this cool action-packed game, it does beg the question that the most attractive aspect of this game, which is the combat, might actually be one of its worst attributes. And if I'm completely honest, I have to say, since I first saw the actual gameplay of the game, I was always worried about the combat for this game. It started last year before E3 when they showed that 1-hour gameplay session. The combat didn't look natural in the slightest, and to top it all off, it was buggy to no end. So while I look forward to playing this game and finding a bunch of freakers, I still have to say this part of the game worries me a lot. But let's move on to another reason I believe this game might have some troubles, and that has to be, we've seen this all before. As we know, this game is all about freakers, or what most people would call zombies. And this cool looking guy, Deacon St. Jones, who rides his motorcycle across the Oregon terrain, trying to gather resources or look for missing people within his party. Yet I can't help but feel that I've played so many zombie games the last several years. Not to mention, I've seen multiple movies and shows that consist of zombies. Yet the main draw for me about this game was the massive amount of freakers that were on the screen at one time. It was amazing the first time they showed this game back in 2016 at that lumber yard, and Deacon was setting traps and taking the horde around, trying to thin out the herd. It's what made the game a must-buy for me and separated it from any other game I've seen in the genre. That was before I played World War Z, which came out right before Days Gone. If you haven't played World War Z, then you're missing out, because it has a lot of cool things I explained, but at a level I've never seen before. The game has so many zombies on screen that you get overwhelmed in the blink of an eye, and it's one of those surprising games this year for me personally. But this brings me back to Days Gone, which I've been looking forward to for some time now. Like I said, the massive amount of freakers on screen and you're finding ways to beat them was one of the best aspects of the game to me. But after playing World War Z, I have to say that this feature of the game is something I've already experienced. Not to mention the zombie fatigue that has already plagued the media already. You tie that all in with the combat being a real issue, and this game might be too little too late. And this moves me on to my last reason, which is a little bit of a double-edged sword, so to speak, because it's where every publisher and developer wants to be. And that's PlayStation games have set the bar extremely high. 2018 was obviously one of PlayStation's greatest years in terms of exclusives. They brought out some of the best games this entire generation, and maybe the game of the generation in God of War. And they ended the year with one of the best superhero games ever made in Spider-Man. And you throw in 2017 with Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the best new IPs this generation, and you have such a strong lineup that people expect to have great exclusive games every single time. The standard that Sony has set is wonderful and something everyone should strive for, but that does come with a lot of pressure on the other studios associated with PlayStation. And that leaves Bend Studios in a very peculiar situation, because I feel that with this being their first shot at a AAA game in quite some time, it puts a lot of pressure on them to deliver at the same quality PlayStation fans have gotten. But it's not realistic to expect every game to be at such an amazing quality every single time. Do I hope Bend Studios delivers one of the best games we've ever seen? Of course I do, because I love playing quality games and I already have this game pre-ordered. But I do have to say that the pressure for a studio to deliver such a high level could be troublesome. I just hope they are able to reach that very high standard the other PlayStation studios have brought. But to wrap this all up, I have to say I'm extremely excited to see what this game brings to the table, because it's one of the games that made me buy a PlayStation 4 Pro in the first place. When I first saw this game back in 2016, I saw the massive amounts of freakers chasing the main character. I knew I wanted to play the game. And while over the years a lot of things about the game have worried me, I still have that excitement to play the game. I don't usually have an opportunity to use my PlayStation since it's reserved for exclusive games only. But I do have to admit, I'm excited to finally play a game on my system and enjoy a story-driven game that I hope lives up to the sky-high expectation Sony has brought with their exclusive first-party games. I have the game already pre-ordered, and I can't wait to play all weekend trying to destroy all these hordes of freakers running after me. But I refuse to go in blind to a game, and I want to make sure I'm prepared for the game to not live up to the expectations I have. But let's hope Bend Studios can surprise everyone and make one of those amazing games we all want to experience. But enough about what I think. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. Is Days Gone a day one buy for you? Are you expecting this game to meet the high standards Sony has set for their games? Has anything worried you about this game? Does the lack of E3 presence worry you? Are you even going to buy this game? Go down below and let me know. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. Any support helps the channel out more than you know. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my videos. Also follow me on Twitch. The link will be in the description. If you want to hang out and chat with me, I'm very active with my chat and always playing games. I hope to see you guys there. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.